Welcome to the Harvard Boat to Mexico. I'm Kent Garrett, author. This is a serialized reading of my historical novel based on real events and told chapter by chapter. The story follows a group of Harvard rowers and a Radcliffe senior Crimson reporter in 1968 as they face the turbulence of politics, race, and the Mexico Olympics. On Wednesday, we present Chapter 9, Jamal and Ezra. They just don't get it. Guys like Gordy and Allen, or they just don't want to get it. You're right, Jamal. They think blacks are moving too fast and should settle for the crumbs until they decide to take their boot off our necks and give us a little more. It was noontime as we crossed Harvard Yard, and most of the picketers were packing up their signs and shit to get to lunch. Noisy students and tourists crowded all the pathways as everyone wanted to take a picture in front of the Harvard statue. Suddenly, spooks, spooks. The yard went quiet. You could hear a pin drop. White stepped off the pathways and scurried away from us. Everybody looked the other way. It was like a freeze frame in one of those action movies. Spooks, wait up. We turned around and started laughing. Of course, we knew it was Dr. John Woodward, the only black lecturer and academic at Harvard. If it had been anyone else, we would have maybe had a fight. For Doc Woodward, spook was a word of endearment. Where are you two fine specimens of the black phenotype headed? I said we are headed to the freshman union for lunch. Ezra told him that a bunch of freshmen want to start an Afro political club and asked for advice, especially in dealing with Harvard administrators. The powers that be say that an Afro club would be self-segregation, and that, of course, Harvard never discriminates. That is bullshit, of course. Woodward, well, count me in, I'm for it. When whites self-segregate with their own final clubs, Harvard final clubs, it's cool. But with black-only shit, they get uptight. Good luck. And we want to check up on a Puerto Rican brother whose house is about to be torn down by Harvard. Jamal, there was a piece about him in the Crimson. Woodward, Harvard always needs more and wants more. When do you take off for Mexico, Jamal? Got to make the boat first, Doc. You'll make it. They say you are one of the strongest rowers that Harvard has had in years. Plus, they need a spook on the boat. We all laugh. When do you leave for Barbados, Ezra? In a few days. Well, good luck to you both. See you, Doc. Later, Doc. As we continued to walk towards the freshman union, Ezra asked, so how did you get into all this rowing? It seems like the ultimate white man's sport, right? Well, it's a long story, and it has to do with luck and genetics. It was a stroke of luck that someone gave my uncle an old rowing machine, also known as an erg machine. I used it to rehab my leg after being shot by that Memphis cop. I put a picture of that motherfucker who shot me on my bedroom wall and rowed and hated him for 3 hours a day, every day sometimes. Rowing is all about power. Your legs muscles propel you back and your arms muscles actually row. I became very strong and developed a lot of endurance. I could do it for a long time without getting tired. That's where the genetics come in. I was born with large lungs, which have a larger than normal capacity to exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide. This exchange is called the VO2 peak. Mine was freakishly high. Plus, when I'm rowing and my muscles get tired and build up lactic acid and lactates, my body can handle that better and shed the toxins. That is a genetic gift as well. I bet that happens when you are playing soccer hard. Ezra, when I'm playing soccer, I get really tired, believe me. Ezra, so you should have no problem making the Mexico boat. Yes, theoretically, but there is a lot more to getting a boat to go fast. There has to be a chemistry and trust between the rowers. Or, as Frank Luis would put it, things have to be tranquilo. I might hate Gordy on land and think that he is a racist jerk. But in the boat, I have to love him, know that he is pulling as hard as I am, and the others are. Negativity, or maybe I should say bad vibes, slow a boat or the boat down. I think we all wrote to put the boat in what's called a state of swing. It's when you feel like you're walking on water, that the movement of the boat through the water becomes transcendent. There's like a near-perfect sync. It is a time when you think there is a God. It does not happen often. I've experienced swing maybe 3 times here at Harvard, and it might last for a few minutes or just for a few strokes. It's better than sex. Ezra, wow. That was Chapter 9 of the Harvard Boat to Mexico. I'm Kent Garrett. Thank you for listening, and music thanks to Zoe Keating. If you're following along on Substack, you can also read the text version of this chapter. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss Chapter 10 coming next Wednesday, when Senior Amy Thayer talks about her Radcliffe and Harvard experiences. See you next time. Thank you.